This is a very insult to life itself. Hayao Miyazaki. That's what I felt after watching the marathon gameplay reveal. This game had the ability to create hype at a level of 11 out of 10, and instead we got a 5. Now, I really wanted to express the problems I have with Marathon, so I broke down as much information as I could, and because of that, I'm going to split this video up into game visuals and gameplay. You can skip to either of the timestamps below. So, the visual design of this game is absolutely polarizing. Either you absolutely love it or you absolutely despise it. Now, the more aggressive people have said that this looks like AI slop, and in some aspects, I understand where they're coming from, but I think this is pretty brutal to say that. It looks more generic, like Apex Legends is the more like rational side, but I don't think it looks like that. It has a very unique visual style to it, which I think people are just kind of over glancing. Their main problem is the player models or the character models that they've seen. It's kind of reached an uncanny valley effect with them, I think, especially in that hyper-realistic trailer that everyone is showing off. It is like really bad. And the other thing about the characters is that I don't think they are necessarily ugly, but they're weirdly humanoid, and I know they're supposed to be robots or synthetic humans or whatever, right? But it's very clear that they're human-based or human-shaped, you know? And you can clearly tell that, like, one's supposed to be a guy or a girl, right? But they're weirdly androgynous. Now, I know they're robots and they're synthetic, but the fact that you can even tell that one is supposed to be a guy or a girl shows that they should be more like a little bit more presentable, you know, in how they display themselves. So that's also weirdly off-putting. So you're putting all this in combination with each other, right? And it's just off-putting. It's very uncanny. It's just a compounding effect, effectively, from what you already have. The thing that I think makes it even worse is that this visual style is very clean and future. The term that they use is graphic realism. I love how these look in pre-rendered shots. Like, look at this. This looks absolutely beautiful, right? But I think the problem with this is that when you take it out of these clean environments and you apply it to a more broad strokes to where you can't control everything perfectly, the visual style falls apart very quickly, especially in environments that aren't completely inside. Many of the environments that they showed on this first map had a lot of outside, foggy kind of aesthetics to it, right? Which I don't think look good in this visual style. Instead, if they're really hell-bent on this visual style, I think what they could do is have some kind of like contrasting effect where you have like a fairly realistic nature kind of thing, you know? And then you have these sterile and very clean environments. I think this would make people feel a lot better with the visualness of it. The other problem I have is that even though this art style is called graphic realism, it has a very weird effect to it where a lot of the player models feel very complicated, but yet also very overly simplified. I don't know how to explain it. It's like minimalism, but you throw all the white boxes into the same area all at once. It's very weird. I just don't know how to describe it, which again also makes a very uncanny effect to it. I think with all these effects compounding onto each other, and you just have a very weird and very difficult style, it's just very polarizing. I think they could fix this by leaning more into, I believe, the less realistic parts and make this more of a smoother or less detailed game, similar to Valorant, weirdly enough. I know this is a weird comparison, but I think Valorant pulls off the very minimalistic but yet detailed stylization of its world. But that's just more my opinion more than anything. But let's get on to the gameplay. Boy, this section is going to be deep. Bungie, what were you fucking smoking? Why did you make this an extraction shooter? Oh my god. This could not have been a worse decision that you could have made. You could have made a remake or literally just a one-to-one copy. But fuck it, let's do another extraction shooter. What could possibly go wrong? And we've seen what's gone wrong. Holy shit, where do I even begin? First thing, Why is there an overheat or meter mechanic? You're supposed to be a fucking like superhuman robot, right? But no. Halfway through combat where you're fighting someone, oh no, guys. Chill out. I need to like cool my servers down and everything, you know. It's not like it's the year 2048 with these hyper realistic cyber AI robots that are literally godlike. Let's just, you know, guys, the heat is too much. I don't even know what it adds to the gameplay. The only gameplay I could see this happening is stopping sweats from overwhelmingly dumpstering someone just because they have to wait a few seconds, even though that person's going to get dumpstered anyways. The only benefit I can see this happening is a funny stream clip to where someone is trying to run away, or they're in the middle of a fight, they overheat, and then they die randomly due to it. I don't even know where to begin with this. Like, this is a terrible thing. Like, if this game launches with this in it, I am telling you, this game is dead on arrival. This is a terrible decision, and this is a terrible game mechanic. It serves no purpose. And you want to know what else serves zero purpose other than you? Sorry. Like, what did this squad-based gameplay add? Now, I know a large majority of them said that the reason they have the squad-based gameplay in, basically, is to stop people from, like, stealthing around the map or not engaging in combat, right? But that just sounds more frustrating more than anything, you know? Because it just means that your teammates have to all be in agreement to either sneak around the map, engage in combat, and all this other stuff, right? But that just seems frustrating from a casual point of view, because I'm assuming Marathon is supposed to be the more casual or accessible extraction shooter, right? But extraction shooters are some of the few games to where you can make negative progress in, which I just don't like. Now, it's not for everyone, you know, some people enjoy it, some people don't, right? But if this is supposed to be the more casual version of it, why in the fuck would I ever want to be in a squad that can fuck me over because little Jimmy decided that he wanted to show off to his Twitch streamers by shooting someone 40 miles across the map and then getting domed and then getting me and all my stuff killed and looted? If anything, that would just piss me off even more. The other thing that's very disappointing is that they said that they're not adding in an official solo mode into the game. Now, I feel like they could have separated themselves from a large majority of the hero shooter market by adding in a solo mode. Now, a large majority of people are going to say, oh, the reason they didn't add it in the solo mode is because a large majority of players would stealth around the map, right? Well, instead of removing that from the gameplay, right, why don't we incorporate it, right? Like, a good gameplay is taking what a player naturally does, right? And then building upon it to actually create a new form of flow to the game. So, if we know Marathon is this hyper-futuristic game with a ton of factions, because apparently factions are going to be a big thing in this game, right? Why didn't they make a solo mode to where, I don't know, to where you spawn in as a grunt for one of the factions, right? And you're looting or doing whatever, and then the other people in the map, this would all randomly happen, right? Random players would be assigned a faction when they launch the solo mode, and depending on what faction they get, they have to achieve different objectives, and certain factions are hunting the other factions down. That would create a great incentive for player conflict, because a large majority of multiplayer games are built off of player conflict. The less player conflict you have in a game, the more boring or sterile it becomes, especially multiplayer games. I mean, just think about how many games are so boring because you can't cause conflict with certain players or you can't do certain things, right? What Bungie needs to focus on with gameplay is figuring out ways to incentivize players to conflict or fight with each other. Imagine if I could backstab or sign an agreement with another squad and abandon my squad, right? Let's say I say, hey, I have this loot on me, they can't, like, let's say I have a piece of loot that no one can take once I picked it up, right? And they get me downed and I can't die because I have the loot on me or something like that, right? And I say that I want to partner with another faction after they just killed my faction, right? I could backstab them or something akin to that. I don't know what it would be or how it would be, but there needs to be more conflict with these types of games. That would really set Bungie apart, especially if they're apparently boss fights or massive community puzzles, right? I think the factions should be a selling point of this game, but instead they seem to be taking a back seat as a generic explanation as to why John Synthetic Man has a gun instead of nothing when he launches into the fight. It's just generally boring, a terrible, it's just, I don't, folks, I just don't know what they're thinking with this game. And not to mention, if players can go in solo, and most of them are going to choose the stealth character, I think his name is Locust, and a majority of the AI doesn't really react until they uncloak, but why don't they have specialized AI that hunts invisible players or has some kind of like interaction with it, right? Maybe there's a bot that goes around in a timed manner or checks all units or scans in certain areas so that you can't stay invisible or you can't camp. Invisibility is not a invincibility button. There are many AI or even in-lore reasons that you can make as to why AI can suddenly see you or other stuff like that, right? And this is supposed to be a camo. It's not supposed to be full invisibility to where right now. And the fact that they had to create a character that can scan you through walls, which is bullshit, I might add, especially in an extraction shooter. But they had to add this character in because they had an invisible character, just says all what you need to know about the game. It's just not well thought out. Oh, this is just a minor tangent I have to add in here, but why the fuck does the looting screen, or whatever you call it, takes a second to render in the items for the game? This just feels like it slows down the pace of the game for no apparent reason other than giving another faction a chance to kill you when you're going through combat, or to stop, like, effectively, I can only describe this as like an Apex thing, to where people can't look into an inventory, grab, let's say, a resource like a heal item or a shield item and pop it on themselves, right? But I feel like that just decreases how interesting the game is if you can do that. Other minor thing too that is a nitpick, but I really hate when you kill someone, their body dissolves and you turn into like a little bag. Oh, look at me. It's so obvious, but it's just so annoying. Why don't they have it to where in that promotional art, when you kill someone, their body stays there and it's just splattered with blue blood everywhere? That seems way more cool. And you can even make it a game to where if someone loots a body, their footsteps leave behind blue blood on the ground, so you could have a little tracking mini game anytime someone kills someone. And you could even, I don't know, incorporate a character that could see how long ago those footsteps were there. You can add gameplay off of small little things like that, that again encourages player conflict. Shit, you could do this with the AI, but I feel like they just don't have any direction with this game, and because of that, this game doesn't have a target audience. Its target audience is whoever the fuck is willing to play the game, because this feels like a game that has created a fun and interesting world that you want to exist in, but a game that you only want to play for 4 hours.